Doily prints in wax. Well, what's that? Doilies are used under cakes normally, but I needed to do a board to make a set of displays really, and so I filmed myself doing that, making this board that you can see right now. And in the hour and a quarter, hour and a half, whatever it was that I filmed, simple things came out, more complex things came out. It was a really interesting process. So here's what happened. First thing I tried was putting wax onto the doily and then turning the doily over face down onto the card and simply ironing it off. Reasonable pressure. Be careful because the doily is quite fragile. And then you can use more of the wax, it gets lighter as you print it out. And there we are. Fantastic detail. It's wonderful to look right into this. Next off, I thought I would put wax onto the card, just as if making an abstract, and then clean the iron and put a fresh doily on top, and ironing over, use it a bit like a blotting paper to lift it up. Obviously it's picking colour off the card, which you can use again. Lovely blends of colour and all those sort of interesting details. Can you stick a doily onto a piece of card? Yes. Just wax it well, iron it firmly. When it cools down, cut off the excess and then decorate it. Here using the stylus in different ways. Looks a bit like the top of a chair, as though it was one of those sort of cast iron things that you get. I like that one. Time for a bit of black card then. So clean the iron thoroughly, get rid of all that dirt, and then white wax on the black card and put the doily on top. I've actually used this doily before, but it doesn't matter, it's the same thing if it had been fresh really. Just iron it thoroughly down, and then this last pass, notice it's slow, it's not slowed down or anything, that's how slow it is. Give it a few moments and then just gently peel it up and you get a much sharper print. And I embellished this one afterwards with the scribing tool. Little flower. So still working on black card, I'm using the same doily with wax on it now and just printing that on like I did at the beginning. Now a clean fresh doily to lift some off. So you can make quite interesting contrasts. But I thought I'd go in with the stylus now, just staying with white and black, and embellish it. And you might look at this and think, oh, what's he doing? I would have done it differently, but then you would have. Probably. It's just a little card, but they're fun to do and really quite complex for the amount of time they take. Now it wouldn't be me if I didn't have to do a landscape of some sort or other, one of these little things. So blue sky, green land. I thought, oh well, I'll give it a go, see what happens. And I did that stroke, and as I lifted it I saw this. And I couldn't resist just mounting it and making it into a piece of art. I mean, it was a bit of waste paper. I was going to throw it away, but it's lovely. So back to that stroke. This is what I did it for, to put some brown into the foreground of that landscape. So blue, green, brown. And when I looked at this, I thought, actually, it worked quite well. Going for a bit of a bigger card now then. So first thing is to cover the doily with wax. And as you do that, be careful that you take it off in time, otherwise you have to heat underneath in order to peel it off. And then it's the same process. Face down, iron it, keep doing that until you get your result. And here I thought I'll work into it now. I'll do something a bit different. I wasn't really quite sure what to do, so back with the doily again, and the blue worked, so I'll put some red on. That worked quite well. In fact I like the red. And then a fresh doily, and I thought I could take some colour off, create a bit more highlight, a bit more contrast. And then stylus work. Sometimes it's good just to slow down, give yourself time to see what you've done. And then crayoning on top. Now when you crayon on top, the highlight, the high points pick up the wax. And if you put other colours on after white, then they show up really well. So white first, then other colours. And the stylus is just lovely to follow these lines. There were so many of them, you could go in any pathway. A bit more colour with the block straight on. And then I had the great idea of taking the edges off to give a bit more authority to what was left. So I'm just heating and wiping and then using the stylus to put an actual wax line down the edge. Goofed up there a bit, so just scrape it off with the scribing tool, give it a little rub to clean it, and then get the stylus and put that back on to tidy it up. And there we have it. It's a more complex version, some lovely colours in there. Next I gathered this little palette of colours and started loading them, lightest in the middle, darkest on the outside, and this actually turned into 3 pieces of artwork. This is my first one, an A5 card. Face down, I thought I'd try printing it on from this way up, so I turned it up to high to make it a bit hotter. And then you can see as I lift it up that it's printing onto the card. What can I do that's different? Well, try some white wax over this corner, it's quite light anyway. Put the doily on. But the trouble when you put white in is that it becomes opaque and pastel and it can be a bit murky. So in the end I sort of took quite a bit of this off again. Printed on with a little bit of more contrasting colour, and then realised that I had this sort of angle, so I put some lines down it. And on the other side, to sort of balance that, I made this border using the back square of the iron. And then just developed this whole sort of shape, geometric stuff. Some little bits of patterning in with the stylus. And still continuing, I realised that I could take this corner off and maybe just do a scribble in there. So I did that, kept it in line with the other stuff, and then just a little bit of warmth and a few sort of odd details, just highlighting it, just linking, connecting. Stylus is really a nice tool, and that's the end of that one. Try it every which way up. So that's one done, but now I've got the doily that I've pulled up, and this is a real quick little piece. I'm just using what's on the doily, and whilst it's still hot from printing that on, I'm just using my finger to flick it out into a flower. Sweet little card. And when I ripped the doily off, I noticed the under paper that I normally throw away had loads of wax on it, and I thought that looks nice. So I fiddled around with the iron. Didn't take very long really, I did this quite quickly, just to work it up into something that I could mount on my board. Give it a quick polish, and there you go. That was quite a good piece, that, from a bit of waste paper. Well, I'm not even going to go into details of how this went wrong, but you can see it was a bit of a murky mess really. So I thought, oh, blue, put darker colour on, that always helps, and then take areas of wax off, lighter colours. Oops, there goes my doily. That was the end of that. So over to some tissues, and I got another doily now, or a bit of a doily. Again, the rubbing off thing, dividing carefully with the iron. This creates a more sophisticated feeling, and I'm putting in details now with the stylus, just some familiar little things, almost like 3 pictures in one. A bit of splatter, just to add some randomness, and some symbols. If you run out of wax, just load it up and overlap, and off you go again. Did a few spirals, and then colouring in. I've used quite dark blue here, but I actually wanted it a bit lighter. You don't really see it like that. So I came and put some white, added it and mixed it in, and that changes the tonal value, lightens it up. A bit more splatter in, join a few of these up. You can go on and on. Add a few brown highlights now. It's all helping to tone the different colours in. Overlapping, building up, putting a little colour palette down the edge of the card, sharpening it up. It's a sort of, makes it feel a bit more professional. Taking out little errors that I noticed. I'm not too fussy really, but polish it, and then that's the final piece. And it had a lot in it, this one. I really enjoyed looking at this afterwards. And when I made the film, I could notice it in another way than when I was actually creating it. So working with doilies can be a lot of fun and very creative if you just keep trying different things. You know, if you run out of ideas, well, do something else for a while, always come back to it. But there are so many things around that are simple and effective. And that's what I'm encouraging you to explore. Have fun. Bye.